Hey everybody, this is Keith here of Euphoria Pictures. Welcome back to my channel. Right, so for this video I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I'm going to review the 4K picture for Superman 3 and Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. And as you can see, both of these are Steelbook editions taken directly from that box set. And again, I will leave a link in the description below if you want to check out my unboxing for it. It really is a stunning edition and definitely worth checking out. Now, I've said it to a few people in terms of these two movies. My memory is very, very hazy on them, particularly the third movie. The fourth movie was the first movie I ever seen in the cinema, and it was a horrible experience. A wonder I ever went back to cinema after seeing that movie. I hated every second of it, and unfortunately nothing has changed. I still hate it to this day. I'm not actually going to lie, I only watched around 40 minutes of it. I had to knock it off, I couldn't take it anymore. But I got an idea of the picture quality, and them 40 minutes gave me a good idea, and I should be able to give you a very decent review on that. As for the third movie, I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. I really enjoyed it. Now, is it as good as the original two movies? Absolutely not. It's not even close to them. See, I always see the original two movies as almost one movie, where the third movie has a huge disconnect from them movies, and that's just not good in my eyes, unfortunately. I wasn't too crazy about the characters in this. You know, Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman, was massively missed in this movie, and he was kind of replaced. He was replaced by, was it Robert Vaughn? I think that's his the actor's name, and it was just another kind of type of Lex Luthor character. And you question why they didn't just bring Gene Hackman back. Maybe he didn't want to come back. So I honestly don't know. But I just found Robert Vaughn's character was very similar to him. And of course the people that he had around him felt very similar to Gene Hackman's character as well. Now, the one big plus I can say about Superman 3 is Richard Pryor. He was a welcome addition to this movie. I always had, again, my memory was always hazy in that movie, but I always remember enjoying Richard Pryor in this movie. And he actually does deliver. I think he's fantastic in it. And by the way, just the ending of that Superman 3, am I the only person as well that actually lost sleep over that woman at the end of it turning into that mechanical creature? I remember seeing it back in the day and it scared the living shit out of me. And wow, even watching it now, it kind of just took me back to my childhood. It's still kind of freaky to actually look at. So yes, look, I had a great time with Superman 3 and great to actually revisit it on 4K. As for the fourth movie, like I said, look, it's a horrible movie. I hated every aspect of it. The poor visual effects, the characters, Gene Hackman's right-hand man in this movie, I don't know what the actor's name is, but every time he was on screen, I just wanted to put my head through a window. So, and let's face it, the actual villain in this movie, is it Nuclear Man? I don't know what his name is, but probably one of the worst villains I've ever seen in a superhero movie. And look, I went into this hoping that I was going to enjoy the fourth movie, but I don't think you can enjoy that movie, unfortunately. Right, so let's get on to the 4K transfer. So naturally, I'm going to start with the third movie. Now, I just wanted to give you a quick heads up for the opening 8 minutes of this movie, because it looks quite poor. And it's only because the opening credits take 8 minutes. Because when you have two elements on screen, particularly for an older movie like Superman 3, you will end up getting a very soft presentation. But I can assure you that once you get past the first 8 minutes, you will get a good indication of what the picture quality is about. And it is extraordinary. It really is. It definitely surpasses the second movie in terms of picture quality. In a weird kind of way, it is very similar to the second movie in terms of clarity and contrast, which look quite amazing. But it is when you start seeing the sharpness and the fine detail on this disc, which really does give it a leap over that second movie. There's one segment in this movie in particular that really stood out for me, was the scene at the start of the movie, well, close to the start of the movie, where Superman is trying to put out the fire. That entire segment almost looks modern. That's the biggest testament that I compare to the 4K transfer in that movie. Some of the scenes actually look modern. It just looks extraordinary, particularly that scene, so keep an eye out for it. I think you are going to be blown away by it. Now, I said in my review for the second movie that I said that the HDR colours in that were a bit more restrained, especially when you compared it to the Blu-ray, because the Blu-ray looked a hell of a lot more vibrant. What I can tell you is now that in this one, the HDR colors are a hell of a lot more vibrant over the previous Blu-ray, but the colors on the HDR wasn't overly aggressively used. It just everything looks more natural, more pleasing to the eye. So I was blown away by the HDR colors that you're going to see in this. It does make a drastic difference to this picture quality, like it always does. The black levels look very similar to the second movie. They are beautifully deep, incredibly inky, and yes, it does add a great sense of depth to that picture. The third movie looks phenomenal, folks. I don't have, you know, you will have a handful of scenes where, of course, the picture does look soft. One or two scenes do look slightly out of focus, but again, that's all down to source material, and it just cannot be helped. But I think you are going to be blown away by the picture quality on the third movie. It really looked extraordinary. It really does. And fans of the movie out there, I think you are going to be very pleased by it. Right, so let's get on to the fourth movie. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time with this one because, like I said, I only seen 40 minutes of it, but that's all I needed to get a good indication of what this 4K transfer is all about. Now, I said this to my fiance when I got this box set in my hands, that I turned around and I said to her, I wouldn't be one bit surprised if the fourth movie was the best looking of the bunch, and that's exactly what has happened here. It's a revelation on 4K. It really is, and it breaks my heart to say that because I just don't like the movie. But there's no denying how phenomenal this movie looks on 4K. It's almost like they took what made the first three movies look great. It's almost like they combined it to give us one extraordinarily solid looking 4K picture. And I have to tell you, folks, this is probably one of the best looking 4K transfers that I've seen of a movie of this age. Fans of it, you are going to be ecstatic. It will be like watching the movie for the first time again. That's how good it actually looks. Now, I don't want to repeat myself, but in terms of contrast, clarity, sharpness, fine detail, HDR colors and black levels, it takes major leaps ahead of the first three movies. You are not going to fully comprehend how phenomenal this movie actually looks until you get it at home on your own setup. It is, like I said, a revelation. I honestly could not believe what I was watching. And yes, I think everyone that's fans of this movie are going to be so happy with what you see here. This movie has no business to look as good as it does. But wow, you can really see that Warner Brothers took the time and effort with this one. It was yeah, it was phenomenal. It really was. Now, both these movies, part 3 and 4, both support Dolby Atmos as well, and I found them to be major upgrades over them previous Blu-rays as well. But I do have to admit, out of the 4 movies in terms of Dolby Atmos, I still find the first movie to be the most active, particularly when you hear the John Williams score in the first movie. Wow, when I watched that the other night, I was actually getting goosebumps. There was just so much going on in terms of sound, and it was yeah, it was just phenomenal hearing that score. Now, unfortunately, on the 4th movie, when that John Williams score started playing, I couldn't believe that it actually was John Williams that done it. You can clearly hear that he wasn't putting near as much effort into the score on the 4th movie as he did with the first. It just lacked any kind of energy or presence to it. And like I said, I was really surprised to see John Williams' name up there. But look past all of that anyway, I think you are going to be ecstatic as well when it comes to the sound on both of these movies. Actually, all 4 of them sound fantastic. And I have to give Warner Brothers credit when credit's due. They really have done something quite special in terms of picture and sound on every single one of these movies. So well done to yous. So there you go, folks. There you go. So as per usual, if you did like what you see here, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you could do, leave a comment down below. And please do share your thoughts on both of these movies. And yeah, I hope to see you all again real soon with my next video. Until then, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.